Hello everybody! If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 589, IELTS, a score of 6. Upper beginner. Maria sat on her bed, a deep sigh escaping her lips. The email was open on her laptop screen, but she didn't need to read it again. The number was burned into her mind. 6.0. She had studied for months. Every evening after work, she would open her books and listen to podcasts. She had practiced speaking in front of a mirror, trying to perfect her accent. The IELTS test was her one chance, her golden ticket to a new life in an English-speaking country, a life of new experiences and opportunities. She needed a score of 6.5. This 6 was not enough. The dream of studying abroad, a dream she had held for years, felt like a fragile glass vase that had just shattered on the floor. Tears welled up in her eyes. It was over. For a few days, Maria felt lost. She went to work. She came home, but her mind was elsewhere. Her friends tried to cheer her up, but she just smiled and said, "I'm fine," even though she wasn't. One evening, her mother found her staring out the window. "What's wrong, my dear?" she asked. "My IELTS score, Mum," Maria said, her voice cracking. "It's not high enough. I can't go." Her mother sat next to her and put an arm around her shoulder. "So, you didn't get the score you wanted," she said softly. "But does that mean you are a failure?" "No." "Does it mean your dream is impossible?" "Also no." "But I can't apply to the universities," Maria whispered. "Not yet," her mother corrected. "You can take the test again. You can work even harder. This is just a small setback, not the end of the road." Maria thought about her mother's words, a small setback. She had been treating it like the end of everything. She realized her mother was right. She had to try again. Giving up was not an option. The next day, Maria signed up for an intensive English course. The classes were 3 evenings a week. It was difficult, but she was more motivated than ever. She found a language partner online, and they spoke every day for 30 minutes. She watched English films without subtitles, and she read English newspapers. 6 months later, Maria took the test again. She was nervous, but she felt more prepared this time. The long wait for the results was agonizing. Then the email arrived. She took a deep breath and clicked it open. Her eyes scanned the page, searching for the number. She saw it. 7.0. A huge smile spread across her face. A single tear of joy rolled down her cheek. She didn't just meet her goal, she surpassed it. Her dream was now closer than ever, and she knew that this journey, the hard work and the small setbacks, had made her stronger. Vocabulary notes. Dashed. This verb means to destroy or ruin a hope or dream. It often suggests that the hope was suddenly and completely gone. Example from the story, which dashed her hopes of going to an English-speaking country to study. Similar words: shattered, crushed, destroyed, ruined. Example sentence: the bad weather dashed our plans for a picnic in the park. Agonizing. This adjective describes something that causes great physical or mental pain, worry or difficulty. The wait for the results was agonizing for Maria because she was so anxious and stressed. Example from the story: the long wait for the results was agonizing. Similar words: excruciating, tormenting, unbearable, painful. Example sentence: he had to wait for an agonizing 10 minutes before the dentist saw him. Surpassed. This verb means to be better or greater than something else, or to exceed a particular goal or limit. Maria surpassed her goal of 6.5 by getting a 7.0. Example from the story. She didn't just meet her goal, she surpassed it. Similar words: exceeded, outdid, bettered, topped. Example sentence. The company's profits this year surpassed all expectations. Setback. This noun refers to a problem or difficulty that delays or stops progress. It is a temporary issue, not a permanent one. Example from the story. This is just a small setback, not the end of the road. Similar words. Difficulty, hitch, problem, complication. Example sentence. The rain was a minor setback, but we continued with our plans. Fragile. This adjective describes something that is easily broken, damaged, or destroyed. It can be used for physical objects or for abstract ideas like hopes and dreams. Example from the story. The dream felt like a fragile glass vase that had just shattered on the floor. Similar words. Delicate, breakable, weak, vulnerable. Example sentence. Please be careful with that glass box. It's very fragile. Story written by Gemini Pro AI. Image created by Imagio AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, Drifting at 4/3 Hz, Unicorn Heads.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into something I think, well, pretty much everyone can relate to. What happens when a really big dream, something you've held on to, feels like it's just shattered? We're talking about dreams, yeah, but also resilience and maybe most importantly, the power of changing how you look at things.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we're going to get into a really powerful short story that shows this journey so well. We'll follow a character, Maria, and her whole experience with the IELTS test. Now, it's one specific situation, the test, but honestly, the lessons, they apply to anyone who's ever felt like they've completely failed at something. We'll unpack some of the psychology behind it all, too.
Okay, all right, let's dive in. So, Maria, let's paint the picture. Her goal. Super clear. She wanted to study abroad, in an English-speaking country, open up her world. And this test, the IELTS, it wasn't just an exam. For Maria, it was like the golden ticket to a new life. That's how she saw it. She'd spent months preparing, evenings after work, hitting the books, podcasts. She was even practicing her accent in the mirror. I mean, talk about commitment. She was all in. Right, so the big moment comes. Maria gets her IELTS score back. It's a 6.0. But here's the kicker. She absolutely needed a 6.5 for the university she wanted. So that 6.0, it wasn't just not quite enough. It felt like, boom, game over. Everything gone. That dream she'd held on to for years. The story describes it perfectly, like a fragile glass vase that had just shattered on the floor. From what we know about dealing with these kinds of moments, what's the typical immediate hit, that feeling of it's really over?
Oh, it can be completely debilitating, can't it? The story tells us for a few days, Maria was just lost, totally adrift. She went through the motions, work, home, but her head was somewhere else entirely. Friends tried to cheer her up, but she'd just give that polite little smile and say, I'm fine. But inside, not fine at all. That feeling the source calls dashed hopes. It's more than just being disappointed. It's this deep sense of loss, and it can just freeze you, make it seem impossible to even think about moving forward.
Yeah, that paralysis sounds familiar. But then the turning point, and it comes from Maria's mother. One evening, her mom finds her just staring out the window, obviously upset. Maria finally says, her voice kind of cracking, "My IELTS score, Mom, it's not high enough. I can't go." And her mother, instead of just sympathizing, offers this different perspective. She asks really gently, "So, you didn't get the score you wanted? Okay. But does that mean you are a failure?"
No.
"No," she says. "Does it mean your dream is impossible?"
Also no.
Also no. Maria's thinking, "But I can't apply." And her mother just wisely says, "Not yet." No, that not yet. And just reframing it like that, That feels huge, psychologically speaking. What's happening there?
It's fascinating, actually. Her mother, maybe without even knowing the term, is doing exactly what psychologists call cognitive reframing. She didn't say the score wasn't bad, she didn't deny the reality, but she changed its meaning. It wasn't the end of the road, it was just a small setback. So much research on resilience points to this ability, seeing challenges as temporary, as things you can overcome, not permanent walls. It's key. So maybe for you listening, think about it. How often do we personally treat a temporary hurdle like it's a permanent dead end? That shift was absolutely crucial for Maria.
And what a shift. Because the very next day, things changed. That renewed focus kicked in. She went and signed up for an intensive English course, 3 evenings a week.
And she didn't just stop there. Found an online language partner, talked with them for 30 minutes every single day. Started watching English movies without the subtitles, really pushing herself. Reading English newspapers, too. It's like that initial disappointment actually fueled her. Her motivation was suddenly higher than ever.
It really did ignite something, didn't it? That dedication she showed, it's incredible. It's a perfect example of what researchers like Angela Duckworth call grit, that passion and perseverance for long-term goals. She wasn't just hoping it would somehow work out. She was actively building the skills she knew she needed. So 6 months pass, she takes the test again. Still nervous, obviously, who wouldn't be? But the story says she felt much more prepared this time around. And then, the wait for the results. The source calls it agonizing.
Well, I think anyone who's waited for big news can relate to that feeling, right? When so much is riding on it.
Oh, absolutely. That wait can be torture. But then, the email. It finally arrives. She takes a deep breath, clicks it open, scans down for the number, and there it is, 7.0. She didn't just get the 6.5 she needed, she beat it.
Yeah.
She surpassed it.
Amazing.
Yeah. The story mentions a single tear of joy, this huge smile spreading across her face. The dream, very much alive, closer than ever, in fact.
And if we step back and look at the bigger picture here, Maria's whole journey from that really crushing 6.0 to the triumphant 7.0, it just shows something so powerful. What feels like the total destruction of a hope, like it's gone forever. With resilience, with changing your strategy, it can actually become a launch pad, a way to achieve even more than you first aimed for. This isn't just a nice story. It really demonstrates what psychologists like Carol Dweck call a growth mindset. Maria didn't see that 6.0 as a final verdict on her English ability. She saw it as feedback, as a reason to learn and get better. And the story itself says it explicitly. The whole process, the hard work, even the setbacks, they made her stronger.
So wrapping this up, what's the takeaway for you listening? I think Maria's story really drives home that what feels like failure, like a bad score or a rejection, isn't always the end. Not by a long shot. It can actually be, well, an invitation, a chance to get stronger, rethink your approach, and maybe, just maybe, achieve something even bigger than your original dream. It's all about how you frame that setback, isn't it?
Absolutely. And maybe that leaves you with something to think about. What fragile dream in your own life feels a bit shattered right now because of some kind of setback? Could reframing it, the way Maria's mother helped her to, could that unlock a different path? A path maybe not just to meeting your goal, but like Maria, actually surpassing it. Something to ponder.